Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today, inshallah, we will complete what we talked before in a previous lesson about advertisement and the words that we talked before, how we can use that word for advertisement and make something good. Today, inshallah, we will take in a reading passage from Unit 4 on page 60 to 61. Let we begin that. On Mega Goal 1, Unit 4, that page, number 60 and 61. Let's we begin. So, before we make a reading, we have some question above that. What words do you think of when you read the words credit card? What do you know about the meaning of credit card? Number 2. Read the text and write sentences to show the history of the credit card. Use the timeline below. Let's begin. Ready? Okay.
The world of plastic. Can you imagine a world without credit cards? Until the 1950s, a world without the use of cash was simply inconceivable. Today, an economic universe without plastic would be impractical. Whether it's for business or for leisure, the credit card is used to pay for goods and services from New York to Beijing.
Okay, the first part is talking about if you want to imagine the world without credit card, what happened and the history for the beginning of using of credit card. Let we discuss that. Can you imagine a world without credit cards? Until 1950s, a world without the use of cash simply inconceivable. Today, an economic universe without plastic would be impractical. So we have some words here, we should learn the meaning of it. Whether it's for business or for leisure, the credit card is used for pay. So what's the purpose for using a credit card? The purpose for it for pay. So we can use a credit card, that one is used to pay. This is the real purpose for credit card. And the synonyms or the word you should guessing the meaning of it is inconceivable. And we have another one is impractical. Both line or both inside highlighter, these two words. Okay, let we complete. Okay.
It all started in 1949 when Frank McNamara scheduled a business dinner in a New York restaurant. Before he left for the dinner, Frank changed suits. When the waiter presented the check, Frank realized that he had left his wallet in the other suit. The embarrassing situation was solved, but that night Frank asked himself, why should people be limited to spending what they are carrying in cash instead of being able to spend what they can afford? A year later, Frank returned to the same restaurant in New York. When the check came, Frank handed the waiter a small cardboard card, a Diners Club card, and signed for the meal. This event is known in the credit card industry as the First Supper. Soon the concept of charging it was picked up by merchants as an alternative form of payment to the use of cash. By 1952, the Diners Club card was accepted by thousands of businesses across the United States, and it became a status symbol for those who carried it.
Okay, let we discuss the second part of the reading passage. So, it's talking about the beginning of invention of credit card. So, it all started in 1949. So, this is the beginning for invention for credit card. When Frank McNamara scheduled a business dinner in New York. So, the beginning of it began in New York restaurant. Before he left for the dinner, Frank changed sweets. When the waiter presented the check, Frank realized that he had left his wallet. So what's the meaning for wallet? Do you hearing that word before? Wallet, it means the small bag which we put our money inside it. So everyone have a wallet. We put an important cards, ID cards, and business, money inside it. This is the meaning for wallet. After that, where we stopped? Yeah, presented the check. Frank realized that he was left his wallet in the other suite. The embarrassing situation was solved, but that night Frank asked himself, why should people be limited to spending what they are carrying in cash? So this is the first question coming inside Frank's head, and he began to ask himself why all the people using a cash and they didn't invent any other way to pay. So instead of being able to spend what they can offer. A year later, after 1 year, be careful, after 1 year, Frank returned to the same restaurant. So he coming back to the same restaurant in New York. And when the check came, Frank handed the waiter a small cardboard card. A small cardboard card. A Diners Club card and signed for the meal. This event is known in the credit card industry as the first super. Soon, the concept of changing it was picked up and by merchants as an alternative from the payment to the use for cash. So this is the story for beginning of credit card and how the people or the human beings invent that card. After that, by 1952, the Diners Club card was accepted. So in 1952, the credit card began to accept it. Thousands of business across to the United States, and it became a state symbol for those who carry it. Okay, so if you have any hard words in that passage, we can see it in the next question. About me, I think embarrassed, wallet, waiter, cardboard, and what else we have. If you have another hard word, we can see it in the next question. Okay, let me complete the second passage.
Diners Club card soon became a cultural icon. Hollywood cashed in on the Charge It craze with the 1962 movie The Man from the Diners Club. In it, an employee at Diners Club issues a credit card to a well-known gangster and has to get it back in order to keep his job. The Ideal Toy Corporation joined in the trend when it created a board game called the Diners Club game. The idea of the credit card quickly expanded outside the United States. The Diners Club card became the first international charge card in 1952, with franchises in Canada, France, and Cuba. In 1955, Western Airlines became the first airline to accept the Diners Club card. 10 years later, the card was accepted by every airline in the United States. Diners Club expanded its services to hotels, car rentals, and other businesses.
Okay, so in this part of the passage, they talking about how and in which year this credit card began to spread all over the world. Okay, in 1962 movie, The Man from the Diners Club, in it, an employee at the Diners Club issue a credit card to a well-known gangster and has to get it back in order to keep his job. Okay, after that, the Ideal Toy Corporation joined to the trend. So after that way, they joined to the trend when they created a board game called the Diners Club game. So they joined to it after they mentioned the game. Okay, Diners Club game. The idea of the credit card quickly expanded outside. So where it expanded? In United States, and after that in France, in Canada, and in Canada it began in France and Cuba, and Western Airline, it became the first airline that accept the Diners Club card in France. After that, 10 years later, so after all that year, they have 10 years later, what they are doing. The card was expected by every airline. So all the airline, they are expanded, the credit card. After it serviced the hotel, car rental, and other business. And nowadays, we can, this is a little of people, you can watch a little of them can use cash money. All of the people using a credit card in anywhere, okay? Let me complete the fourth section.
Other famous international credit cards have been created, such as American Express, Visa, and MasterCard. There are hundreds of local bank cards, department store credit cards, supermarket credit cards, and so forth around the world. In 1984,
so in section 4, they talking about the kinds of credit card. After the invention and the spread of credit card, now they talking about the kinds of credit card. Other famous international credit cards have been created, such as American Express. So this is one kind. Visa, second kind. And MasterCard is the third one. There are hundreds of local bank cards, department store credit cards, supermarket credit cards, and so forth around the world. So this is some of the kinds of credit card. Let me complete section 5.
The first card members reward program was created, aimed mostly at business travelers. It gave valuable benefits and special privileges to loyal users. Now many reward programs offer free airline miles and discounts on hotels and other products. Ever since
So nowadays, if you're using credit cards, you have something they added to you to your credit card as some points or some rewards or some gifts. Let me check that. In 1984, the first card members, so members, it means the people who joined to that card program, was created, aims mostly at business travelers. It gave valuable benefits and special privileges to the loyal users. How many rewards programs offer free airline miles? This is about airline miles. They give it some free airline miles, and discounted on hotel and other products. This is about section 5. Let me check what they have on section 6.
Businessman forgot his cash in 1949. People have used credit cards. An entirely new business was created that revolutionized the way the world has paid for goods and services ever since.
Okay, in section 6, they're talking about the sense of businessman forgot his car. So all the passages we have in English, it's the last section of the passages is talking about what we calling conclusion or summarize for whole passages. So that passage is talking about the story again for credit card and the man who invented and the year for that. After that, he talking about how we can use it in a business and in a goods and in airlines also from that year until nowadays. This passage have 6 parts and have some synonyms. After that, we want to make some discussion about the period down. So if you notice that we have period and it have 3 numbers. It's began from 1949 to 1950, okay? So this is 1 year around this period. That's what make Frank think how to create or how to invent a credit card. After that, from 1950 to 1952, how they using the credit card, okay? So in 1949, Frank couldn't pay for dinner because he forgot his wallet. Sometimes when the man or the human beings need for something, his mind began to think how he can solve that problem. So we can call the necessity is the mother of invention with the Frank. When he can't pay his dinner, he began to think how he can create another way to pay for that time, okay? Let we go back for page 61. So in 61, after reading, we have some questions. We should answer it. Okay, let me check that. So choose the correct meaning of each word. In every paragraph, passages, a small part, we have some synonyms or a hard word to understand the meaning of it. So in section 1 or in paragraph 1, we have 2 words. And in paragraph 2, we have 2 words. In paragraph 3, we have 2 words. And the last one, in paragraph 6, we have 1 word. Let me check what's the meaning for that word. Number 1, inconceivable. In paragraph 1, what's the meaning of it? Cannot have a children, or impossible to imagine, or uncreative. What do you think the meaning of it? Number 2, impractical, also in paragraph 1. What's the meaning of it? Not convenient, not usual, or out of practice. That's number 2. Number 3, limited. In paragraph 2, what's the meaning of limited? Small company, or kept without a boundary, or disabled. And number 4, state's symbol. In paragraph 2, what's the meaning of it? Belonging to the state, or brand name, or sign of a high social standing. And 5, cash in paragraph 3, what's the meaning of it? To make money from, or use a cash machine, or to invest. And number 6, franchise. What's the meaning of franchise? In paragraph 3, a French product, a big corporation, or a branch of a company. And number 7, revoltoism. In paragraph 6, it means generality change, or protest strongly, or turn back. So we want to check the suitable meaning of it. So in number 1, the suitable meaning for it is impossible to imagine. So if the in become at the beginning of the word, it means it gives the negative meaning of it. So the meaning of it is impossible to imagine. On number 2, impractical, it means not convenient. And on number 3, limited, it comes with kept without a boundary. And on number 4, state's symbol, it comes with sign of a high social standing. On 5, cash in, it means to make money from. To make money from. And on 6, franchise, it means a branch of company. And the last one on paragraph 6 means greatly change. Okay? So let we go back, check another question. Okay. After that, we have 7 questions asking you what is the process of credit card and what is the dialogue inside the passage, or how do you know the meaning of it and the words and the story of credit card, whom invented it, and so on. Let me check that question together. Answer the question about the reading. Number 1, how long have credit card have been available? If you remember in passage 1, in paragraph 1, how long have credit cards have been available? Number 2, why was Frank McMurrin embarrassed? Why he is embarrassed? Number 3, what does McMurrin think was a silly restriction? So what did he make him restriction? What phrase was used to describe the use of credit cards in contrast to the phrase paying in cash? Paying in cash. And 5, what shows that the Diners Club card was becoming popular? What's the thing make that company is popular? And 6, what did the credit card present to people who possessed on? And the last one, how did the use of credit cards expand? Okay, let me check the answer together. So in number 1, since 1950s. Number 2, he didn't have enough money to pay for a business dinner. Number 3, he thought people should be able to spend what they could afford, not only what they are carrying in cash. And 4, charging it. And number 5, what shows the Diners Club was becoming popular? Hollywood made a film about it. So this is the real thing which make it popular. And the board game called Diners Club was created. And number 6, what did the credit card represent to people who possessed on? So it became a state symbol. And the last question, how did the use of credit card expand? It started for use in a restaurant and then expanded to the other businesses and to the other countries. So this is our lesson for today. Thank you for sharing and thank you for coming to my class.